Hey everybody, Tom here, and today I want to teach you how to set up a game of Tapestry. Tapestry is the latest game from Stonemaier Games, and it was designed by Jamie Stegmaier. And if you've watched my channel, you know that I'm a big fan of Stonemaier Games. I love Wingspan, I really love Scythe, I really love Between Two Cities, stuff like that. So I'm a big fan. When this was announced and shown, I was extremely excited about it. I know this game is very, very polarizing. I don't feel polarized. I really, really like it. I think some of the complaints are valid, but that's not why we're here. We'll talk about that at the end of my gameplay video. For now, let's go ahead and pop this thing open. It's a heavy box because there are some really amazing things. But I want to point out really fast that these 5 boxes here are player boxes that I have created and designed and all that stuff. So in the description of this video, there will be a link to my Board Game Craft website where you can look a little closer at these if you want to, and or download files, and there will be a video to show you how to make them if you're interested in doing that for yourself. I'm going to be doing a 2-player game, so I'm going to be playing the red player and the blue player, and so I have all of the player pieces in here, and here's just kind of a quick list, because obviously you probably won't have it organized like this, but we're going to look closer at this in a second, but each player is going to start off with these different items. Again, let's look at those in just a second. So blue player on the left, red player over there. Let me go ahead and just take out these boxes as we unpack the whole thing. Let's see, up here at the top, we're going to have a whole bunch of different civilizations. And so we're going to take those out. Oh my goodness. Okay. And each player is going to get one of these. If I remember correctly, I should have double checked this. I just got this game 2 days ago, hurried, and made the boxes. I have played it, but I totally forgot that the thing that I want to double check is, do you get 2 and you pick 1? Yes, you pick, yeah, that's what it is. Okay, so each player is normally going to be given 2 of these boards, and you'll pick 1. If you've seen my videos, I don't really like doing that all that much, especially in the videos, so I'm just going to give each one of them randomly. Okay, so we're going to have the inventors. I'll go ahead and hand that to the blue player. And we're going to have the alchemists. I'm going to give that to the red player. I have actually played with the inventors. I have not played with the alchemists, so I'm going to learn what those are. These can kind of go back in the box-ish. There's a chance that maybe you might draw one again, so I'll kind of keep them, I don't know, off the screen a little bit. But yeah, these can go on a stack near the board, but you're going to see we're going to need a lot of space. So the rest of those kind of go away with a small possibility that you might use them during gameplay. Okay, there's a few different books going on here. So there's the regular rule book is this. It's like one big sheet folded in half, so essentially 4 pages, and it's pretty good. Jamie has obviously tried to make the game and the rules really approachable by making a very short rule book. There are times where that feels like it's lacking a little bit, but for the most part, it's reasonable. I would have preferred a second page or something, but it is what it is. There's also a similarly sized rule book for the solo mode, for the Automa solo play stuff, so I'm going to go ahead and take those out. And next, there are going to be these different types of land. Each player is going to get one of these, but I need to wait until the map is set up before I really hand these out, so let me just put those to the side for a minute. There's going to be this board, which will hold some buildings. This board is like kind of nice. It's not super duper needed if you're low on table space, but we should be able to make this fit. I'm not sure which side of the board yet. Next, we have a bunch of player boards. These are all identical. Okay. Oh, not this one here. This one is for the solo mode right there. Okay. And this one. So these 2 are for the solo mode. Wait, I think I grabbed one too many. Sorry. This one is for the solo mode, so let me take that out. And then the rest of these are identical. Okay, so this plays up to 5 players. There's 5 of these boards. So let me just hand one to each person. Then we have a sheet explaining the Shadow Empire. The Shadow Empire is like an invisible bot type thing that gets played. You add that into the solo mode with the Automa but you also could use the Shadow Empire in a 2-player game to add a little more race aspect to what you're doing. Man, there's like so many papers, sorry. And then this is just what comes in the game. There are also 2 rules reference sheets that are double-sided. So these are the actions in the game, and over here this is an explanation about the invention cards in the game. So I'll just go ahead and take those off screen for now, and then we'll just pull them onto camera as we need it. Okay, next up we're going to have the player board. I'm just going to set this to the side for a minute as we look here. So this is how I've decided to organize the game. So the game does come with a kind of a game tray type thing. I really wish that we had gone one step farther to get game trays for the player pieces and make sure everything fits perfectly. We didn't get that. I guess I shouldn't complain too loudly, but that was just, it's awesome that we have this one. It's kind of tricky that everything else just like floats on top of this. So let me take off this lid. And we're going to have all of these buildings down here. And then what I do is I like to store, like I think some people store their player pieces in these. I like to store all of the cards in one of them. And by storing them in this way with the plastic lid on them, they don't fall out. They don't get mixed up or anything like that. So I like storing all of the cards like this. I'm going to take those out. And then we're going to have 3 dice. It is possible that you could have ordered more dice. I'm happy with the 3. You're going to have a black one, a red one, and a green one. Take those out. And you're going to have 2 types of hexagonal tiles. These ones here are space tiles. Let me just give them a quick shuffle. We're going to set them to the side. This game, I'm sure, is, as we're setting this up, you're probably like, holy cow, this is going to be super overwhelming. And I can see that on the appearance, but this game really is pretty approachable. So it's just a lot of stuff going on to the untrained eye. Okay, then we're going to have some regular tiles like this. I shuffle them as I put them away, so I'm just going to go ahead and pull those out here. Oh my gosh, except they're falling. I'm going to have to deal with that later. And these buildings, let me get my building card here. I'll move it in just a second, but essentially, there are 12 buildings that are going to fit on these spaces here. Now, there are some pictures here and a general shape of the base of the building. But my first time playing, I found it a little frustrating to figure out which building goes on which space. So what I've done is for those 12 buildings, I just took a piece of masking tape and I used different colored Sharpies and I labeled the era that these come out in. I almost regret the way I did that. Like I should have labeled this 1, 2, 3, but instead, era 1 is ignored. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is these become 2, 3, 4 instead of 1, 2, 3. And so this is, oh, this isn't red, this is orange, okay? So this is orange, era 3, okay? Because again, for me, I went 2, 3, 4. I could have just as easily gone 1, 2, 3, but it is what it is. So this one is going to be green 2, it'll go there. That's red 2, it'll go there. The red and orange are a little tougher to distinguish than I thought. This one doesn't have any tape, which means it's just going to go above the board near it. Blue 2, blank. There are cards that will bring these ones out. It doesn't matter if you don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, so this is red. No, what is that? Orange 2. Yeah, I maybe should have. I have a yellow Sharpie, but I didn't think it would show up well enough. I might change those out. Okay, what is that? That's green 3, so it goes there. And that one's blank. And that one's blank. And that's red 3. This is blue 3. Oh, I'm going to turn it that way. It's a train station. All right. And then we have red 4. I really wish that there were like, I love, oh, by the way, these all come pre-painted. They come with every version of the game. I just wish that somehow the buildings were better at denoting which color they're associated with. Maybe the base is a certain color or something. I wish that that had been a thing. All right. What am I didn't even look at that. Is that right? No, that's a blank one. And then we have blue 4. Oh, we'll turn it that way. And then we've got orange 4 and green 4. And finally, another one. And we have officially emptied out the box. All right, so now we kind of got to shift a little bit. I'm just going to go ahead and push all of these buildings off to the side over there. And for purposes of this game, because of the nature of the board, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to use a Lazy Susan. You may have seen me use this in my Avengers board game, the Thanos game. I'm going to put the board on this because it's going to make it easier for me to record, essentially. So pretty much at this point, we've emptied out the box, we've made a mess, and now let's start making sense of what we're doing. So this board has two different sides. It's going to have a 4+ side. The game only comes with 4 or 5 players. I'm going to guess that Jamie's going to release an expansion with a 6th player. I imagine it'll be like Scythe, where he says, I don't think you should play with 6 players, but here you go. And then the other side is for 1, 2, or 3 players. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the board to the 1, 2, and 3 player side. And I mean, there kind of is a right side up, but the way that this goes, you can kind of see the way that this goes. You're going to see all these actions around the board. In theory, you should be able to sit on any side of the board and be able to see, one line of actions, stuff like that. But yep, so I'm just going to go ahead and lay this on here. It won't be perfect because, the Lazy Susan is a little small for this board. But I think this is going to help with recording because then I can turn this, knock over everything. I have this planned out, I promise. I just need to move stuff out of the way. All right, so we have the board in place. Next, let's move over this way and get the cards and the tiles and all of that stuff shuffled up. And I will do so in a way that we kind of look at this part of the board as if it was flat on the table. Okay, so as I was coming over here, you already see I took a second to clean up the mess because this was getting a little out of hand. But basically I have these civilization things, papers, whatever, face down over here. I have space exploration tiles right here in a pile. I have my regular exploration tiles right here. We'll deal with the dice in a second. I'll just throw them on the board for now. But let's look through this big deck of cards and see what we've got. In this deck of cards, you're going to have some cards for the solo mode, for the automa and such. So that's what these gray cards are. We're not going to need that for now, so I will take these out. You will also have 6 of these player aids. I have 5 of the player aids, 1 in each of the player boxes, so there's 1 left over. Again, me kind of contributing to the fact that I think there's a 6th player on the way, unless this was a fluke. But yeah, this is just a nice player aid you can hand out. I honestly don't even know how much helpful information is here because I think it's such a simple game, but there it is. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and take that out too. We have some more automa stuff here, okay? These cards are just for the automa. And essentially in this big deck of cards, you're looking for 2 types of cards. You're looking for tapestry cards, which are green and yellow. And then you're looking for invention cards that are yellow and orange-ish. And so what we're going to do is we're going to shuffle these up. I'm not going to spend forever shuffling because I shuffle as I clean. But essentially, especially when your board is laid flat like this, what you will usually do is, or when it's, on the table, I'm going to have to move it because I'm going to be spinning. But you would basically put your draw pile here next to this icon, and then you're going to draw the top 3 of these cards, and they're going to go right here. I'm going to move these because I'm going to be spinning the board. So let's just put those here. Okay, and then similarly, you're going to go ahead and shuffle these cards. These are called tapestry cards. Oops, sad that flipped. Okay, so these are called tapestry cards. And we'll just give that a quick shuffle. And these would just go in a draw pile down here next to this green icon with the yellow border. Instead, for us, why don't we go ahead and place them here-ish. I'm sure by the time we're playing the game, I'm going to shift that stuff around. But this will just be our cards and tiles draw area, and that will allow me some flexibility to spin this. Now, before we get into the player setup, I guess, I need to pause. On the 4 and 5 player side of the board. So on the other side of the board, you're going to see 6 different regions, each with a single number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And in the 1 to 3 player side, they've grouped those together. You're going to have a 1 and a 6, a 2 and a 4, a 3 and a 5. So that's going to become important in just a second, but primarily because I'm going to start the video with the board like this. I'm going to focus the blue player on 3/5, and I'm going to focus the red player on 2/4. And essentially what that means is that there are 6 different land types, and they each have that icon with a single number. And so in a 4, 5, or 6 player game, just shuffle these up, hand somebody one totally at random. But in a 1 to 3 player game, you need to hand these to players in those pairs of numbers. So basically, like I said, I'm going to have the blue player be 3 and 5. So 3 and 5. And then we'll have the red player be 2 and 4, just because that's going to be closer to their play areas, and I won't even worry about the other ones because I'm just doing a 2-player game. So I'm going to hand these over to red, and each player is going to look at these and pick one that they want to play with. I have already played with the grasslands, so I'm just going to go ahead and pick tropical because I have not played with those before, and that's fine. So I've got my tropical board. Now we're going to be fighting space on here, of course. I don't even know if this paper is going to work. Usually I will label. I think this is going to get totally covered up. Yep, probably. Okay, so in a normal game where you have unlimited space, oh, do you know what? This is going to work. I didn't think that would. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to set out our boards, our 3 boards like this. And if you look closely at the map in the background, it will fit up perfectly like that. Okay, so you lay this board that everybody has the same one of, that goes in the middle. You're going to put your civilization on the left, and you're going to go ahead and put your land area on the right. Oh, that's why this isn't going to work. Okay, quick change. But in this game, for this video, I'm going to go ahead and lay it like this because we're going to need some space to lay some cards out over there. That is what I was thinking about initially. Oh, I'm going to have to think about this. I should have thought about this before I pushed record. Do you know what? No, we just won't have space. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a thing like this. And of course, I reserve the right to rearrange as needed. All right, so your player boards go however you can fit it at your table. And then let's go ahead and open up this box. And again, here's a list of contents here on this box that you can make yourself if you want. And in here I have 2 different small boxes, and then I put the player aid at the bottom. Again, I don't think the player aid is overly useful, so I'm not planning on using it in my video. I'm just going to go ahead and take that stuff out. Now I have 2 different boxes. Every player is going to have this exact same box with the exact same contents inside, and so I'm going to kind of dump these out. And it's basically 4 different buildings, 5 of each kind. And what we need to do is we need to put these on each of these spots, but keeping the left spots open. So our yellow buildings, it kind of has this yellow icon. They're going to go right here. And we're just going to cover up these spots like this. And then we're going to get our gray buildings like that. And I don't know if you can, I can't imagine you can see it, but these boards really do have a fascinating texture that I have never seen or felt in a game before. It almost feels like sandpaper. I know some people like it and some people really hate it. I'm trying to decide how I feel about it. It definitely does not let things slide around very easily, so that is absolutely a pro. Okay, so we go ahead and set up the buildings on the spaces just like that. And then in this small box, I have 4 different resource tokens, and they're all going to go down here on the 0 space for a second. We're going to actually bump them up here momentarily. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to need 4 cubes. I lied, 5 cubes, and then 2 of these outpost things to go on the board, and the rest of these we will take out of this box as needed, but let's go ahead and take these to the board. Okay, you're going to take your 2 outposts, and this is going to be your capital city. It needs to go on the hexagon with the number that matches the land that you are starting with. So that's kind of why you hand these to people in pairs. You could go totally random, but make sure that people don't get a 2 and somebody else gets a 4, because then they would be on the same spot, which is not a legal way to start the game. But where we're going to be tropical for the blue player, we're going to take our 2 outposts and put them there. Next, we're going to go ahead and put one of our cubes at the 0 scoring space. It is just off camera, but I can spin it like that. That's going to go on the 0. And then you're going to see on these different tracks, there is a circle right under the main icon. And you're going to put one of your cubes in each of those spaces there. Like this. While we're at it, let's go ahead and the black and red dice are going to go up here by the red track. And then the green die is going to come down here by the green track. Now, to be technical and to be official, this is how we would start the game, and then at the beginning of the game, we're going to take an income phase. I find that very confusing to try to teach people new to this game, especially where it already looks overwhelming. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cheat a little bit, and I'm just going to hand the players, well, I would just tell the players during setup, put all of these things on the 1 space, and then we're also going to start, different civilizations are going to start with different things. Because I've played this one before, I know how this works. But basically, we're going to go ahead and take 4 cubes and place them here. This might not be as helpful as I thought it was going to be. Okay, here, we'll just dump that stuff out. Great. Okay, so this particular civilization that I'll talk more about in the gameplay video, they need to start with 4 cubes over here, which is cool. And so the reason why we're starting with one of each of these resources, as I'll explain in the gameplay video, is we have those resources uncovered at the beginning of the game. But we also have a single gray hex showing here and a single green card, which means that each player is also going to start with a single hex and a single tapestry card. So let's go ahead and bring these back. The hexagons are always kept face up, and the tapestry cards are always kept face down. Here's a sneak peek. Oh, a trap card. Interesting way to start the game. And yes, we have officially set up the blue player. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, don't be. Let's go set up the red player so you can get one more feel for how that's going to go. Okay, again, I reserve the right to rearrange as needed. So we're going to go ahead and start here like this. And we're the alchemists. I need to read what that says. I'm sure it's going to be great. Put that there. Do I want the desert or the wetland? I don't know. Let's be the wet. Yeah, we're tropical. Oh, let's be the opposite of tropical. Let's be desert. That sounds fun. Leave a little bit of space for the cards over there. Pop open the box. We have our 20 buildings. We'll just go ahead and as quickly as possible lay these out. Remember, these go on the 5 spaces to the right. You leave the leftmost space open. And they're kind of cool. Look at those. They feel a little bit like rubbery. Like, it's not a hard plastic. It's almost like a softish plastic. Obviously, it's not rubber. I have no idea what the materials are. And we're just going to go ahead and cover up these spaces with these buildings. These are called income buildings. So as we build these buildings in our land, we're going to uncover more income. It's going to give us advantages income-wise. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and lay these out. A little something like that-ish. Again, I have my player aid. I don't foresee myself using that much. I guess we're going to dump those out. And we've got our resources. Again, if I was teaching new players, I would just tell them, just start at the 1. Don't explain the confusing income phase at the beginning. That's crazy to me. Oh, here's a little tidbit if you want. Remember how I mentioned that these boards are a little like sandpapery? They're like a little bit scratchy almost. It's so bizarre. I'll stop talking. I want you to listen. This guy is moving very smoothly. But this guy is a little louder. Each of these 4 plastic pieces has like 2 sides, obviously. And I'm going to try to get you to see it here. There's this totally smooth side. And this side you can see a slight ridge around the outside. Ridge side down will be more noisy and scratchy. But if you put it smooth side down, it's smooth sailing. So I have always been playing with the smooth side down just for my own sanity. Okay, so we're going to need 2 outposts and 5 cubes. Take these over to the board. And we've got our 2 outposts stand up in our capital city on that starting space that we had talked about, just anywhere in the middle. Putting it like on the water versus the land doesn't matter, it's just on the tile. We have our 1 that goes on the 0 scoring space, and then 1 on each of these colored tracks around the outside, just sitting there with the other player's token. Let's grab a gray tile and a tapestry card. So this will stay private from the other player. Oh my gosh, another trap. I swear these are shuffled. I have played and I have shuffled. I will triple check to make sure they're shuffled before gameplay, but we are both going to start with a trap. And we'll keep this tile face up like that. And I did take a second to read what the alchemists do because I hadn't played with them before. And I don't need to place any cubes specifically on any spots, but I will just kind of keep 4 cubes up here-ish for later on in the game. Okay, there you have it. We are officially set up. A little tedious, but like there's no confusion to what gets set up where when you're setting it up. That's a really nice thing about this game. Essentially, you put out the board, put out all of those buildings, set up your piles of cards and your piles of tiles. That is so fun to say. Get your player board set up and all those pieces. Like you don't have to look in the rule book to figure out how to set stuff up necessarily. So really straightforward on the setup. We are ready to go. I'm excited to play this game again. I really enjoy playing this game, so I'm excited to do it on camera and to be judged for my bad decisions. But yes, we are ready to play. If you're interested in watching me play this game, since we did manage to survive that setup video together, it would be great. So click on the link in the description of this video. And again, if you are interested in building your own do-it-yourself player boxes, there's a link in the description of this video as well. All right, I want to stop talking so I can go play. Talk to you later. Goodbye.